In 2018-19, I want to say, we came together and created this task force to address some different behaviors going on in schools.
Part of that task that was given to the schools was to create a discipline or a behavior team at the schools. And this allows for a collaborative approach. No longer is it the administration coming down and saying, this is the school rules, this is what you're going to do. It is now an opportunity to come together, collaborate, identify the areas of concern, the areas of need.
All the teachers, one from each grade level, we got to all work together and have this meeting time to create this behavior task force, come up with our plans, and get buy-in from all grade levels, not just admin telling us what to do.
Essentially put some essential standards around those expectations that teachers can teach to and focus on and reteach if they need to.
So I'm on both ends. I do the district level one and the building one. And it's nice to see people get involved and take on the work, and it opens you up to have different conversations of why we're putting out the changes and the differences going on right now.
So I think when we build consistent systems and common language across all grade levels, across the district, we are truly setting our students up for success.
Stephanie and I have both taught special education, and we get to see some of our most vulnerable kids and the impact that having consistent expectations amongst all students and how that improves student behavior across the building.
One way we do this is to build a foundation of open communication, trust, and mutual respect between teachers and administrators.
It's a really good way to solidify that those expectations, make them clear for all students.
Doesn't matter what school a student attends, they know what's expected of them, and our staff have all the tools necessary to help that student succeed.
So when a student moves from a middle school to a high school, they have an idea of how they should behave and how they're expected to behave in those situations.
And speaking from a special education standpoint, we have kids that move from school to school because of self-contained programs. And when they move to a different school, they are able to, they know what is expected of them. They know the different common areas. And yes, the common area expectations might be different at different schools, but at least they have a basis of knowing where they're starting out from and where they are going.
And they're being taught. And that was one of the things that the Behavior Launchpad made sure was in place, is that every building was making sure not only do they have them, but they're being taught, they're being monitored, and they're being reflected on. And I think that that's one of the biggest advantages, is it's not just a checkbox. It's something that we are working with constantly and we're reflecting on constantly.
So the Launchpad is a tool that the team felt was going to provide schools with a resource to really examine what their practices were in the building and kind of guidance to create clear expectations for both the students and for the staff that they could share out to the community as a large, families, students, and that hopefully is to create an environment that allows for success for the students, both emotionally, behaviorally, and also academically.
The Launchpad gives every building the opportunity to teach behavior like they would reading, writing, and math.
So we can create that environment that is not chaotic, that does allow for learning, and really to teach our students how to be the best that they can be.
Staff also are on the same page about what the common area expectations are. So if you have someone new or you have a substitute in your building, there's no gray area. It's very black and white. And that's the intention of the Launchpad, is that everybody's on the same page. We all know what the things are that we're doing. We all know where to find them, and we can all put them into place and implement them effectively.
So when we look at equity, it's about addressing issues as a whole versus individuals and coming up with common ground.
The Behavior Task Force is really looking at our systems district-wide and thinking what is going to benefit all students. I think safety and belonging is key for Bethel students to be successful, and that's what we're really looking for, is how we can increase safety and belonging and not just be punitively punishing students.
Personally, I get really excited about it. It's really based on brain research. When we provide a predictable environment for our students, that provides that feeling of safety. Our brains are always scanning and looking around for areas that may be unsafe. When students walk into a school, if they already feel safe and the environment is predictable, then their brains are ready to learn.
I feel that this task force allows for a philosophical shift. No longer is it the punitive, right? We know that that has not worked. historically that has not worked. We see that especially with our marginalized students who are consistently being penalized or punitively addressed, right? And so with this task force, the intent is to try and make sure that we equalize, bring equity to the table, and make sure that we're addressing the needs, not the student, not the person, right? But we're looking at what is that root cause and recognizing that we can't fix everything, and how do we meet our students where they're at to move forward.
So we were able to look at each school's launchpad and provide feedback for them, and we were able to find a lot of great things within the launchpad, but then we were able to look at things that maybe could have been a little bit better on each launchpad.
We worked really hard to make sure that the feedback that we gave was not only positive but also constructive, so that buildings could go back and look at their individual plans and say, how can we improve this?
Too often we have this belief that the school district doesn't do anything, or that the schools don't do anything to address the issues. And this is the opportunity to share with them the work that is done.
I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far as a task force. We aren't afraid to talk about the complexities of student discipline, and we really focus on solutions rather than talking about the problems that we can't control.
I think that from here, it's just time to reflect and improve and grow the district and help behaviors become a little bit more manageable within the school buildings.
And when you see the work that you're doing come to fruition, there's nothing that's more rewarding than that.